I want to showcase what I think is one of the coolest features of the Kaleidescape platform, particularly if you have a dedicated home theater space and a non-16 by 9 aspect ratio type screen. The ability to manage the UI for different types of aspect ratios and aspect ratio formats is a killer feature, killer setting in the Kaleidescape platform. And it's one that I hope, say, other player manufacturers like Apple perhaps copies for folks like us that have these types of systems and these types of rooms. So let's take a look at the setting, how it works, and showcase some of that Kaleidescape awesomeness. Alright, so the setting that I'm going to be showing off here, the effects of it, is basically in the web UI of the Kaleidescape. You cannot adjust this in the on-screen display settings of the player. What you're going to do is go to your Kaleidescape system via IP address in a web browser, and under settings you have the option for your movie player. You click settings again, and that takes you to all of the advanced audio and video capabilities. There is an option called Select Screen Aspect Ratio. It has 4 settings, 16:9 default, and that's what we're looking at right here. I have my projector currently zoomed to its 178:1 16 by 9 setting. I of course do have a scope screen measuring out to just about 163 inches, but the Kaleidescape setting lets us choose whether we have a 16:9 setup, a CinemaScape native 235 display setup, or something in between where we may have lenses and anamorphic and other types of letterbox scenes. The cool thing about the UI control in the Kaleidescape web UI is that it shows you specifically with pictorials what the different settings will look like for different types of content, as well as hitting the little question box gives you even more of an explanation of each one. So for the demonstration here, again, we're looking at a 16 by 9 projector lens memory setting zoom level, and we're looking at the 16:9 setting, the default setting of the Kaleidescape. What I'm going to do, since I don't have a lens, I'm not going to be able to demonstrate the anamorphic settings and stuff like that. I'm going to stick basically just to the 16:9 and the native 235 variations of this setting, because this is also how I use the home theater. I have projector lens memories set up, and I can zoom my image between the 16:9 setting and the 235 ultra widescreen scope setting. This takes a minute on the JVC. It has to restore a different lens memory setting. I do use the zoom settings within the projector itself, so there's this extra little lag time involved when it actually clicks through. There we go. And I am leaving the lights on a little bit so you can kind of see the effects of the screen. Now, when we're using the home theater down here, we're usually watching movies. Many of the movies, the large majority of the movies, are in some kind of wider aspect ratio, and we usually end up zooming to this level. And one of the nice things about the KUI by default actually is it does leave your currently selected movie right in the middle, dead center, so you are able to actually see that. However, if I click into this film now, notice that a lot of my options, my menu, and so on, my information is off the screen. That's not so ideal. So what we want to be able to do is actually set the player when we're in a 235, we're in a native kind of scope zoom usage mode. We want to go ahead and set the Kaleidescape to match that. So I'm going to use the select screen aspect ratio option. I'm going to change it from 16 by 9 to CinemaScape native 235, and bam, instantaneously we are now looking at a native movie wall, UI wall. And if I click into a film, of course, all of the settings, the menus, the pop-ups, the displays, and everything is completely configured now to be able to natively work in this aspect ratio. And as I do click through the Kaleidescape UI system, I go to from the movie wall to collections, I go from collections to the store, and from the store to the movie list. All of these different views are formatted now to this specific UI screen aspect ratio. I can see more covers, and it just really just such a fantastic setting. I'm going to go ahead and flip it back to the 16 by 9, and we can see now here like kind of what a compromised experience this is. The movie posters are bigger, but you see so much less. Things are cut off and all of that. So I'm going to zoom the projector back down to the 178:1, the 16 by 9 setting, where this is actually an aspect ratio match for. One more time, we'll show this off. Again, it takes a few seconds for the projector. I'm doing this in real time. I'm not going to cut in between here. It takes a few seconds for the projector to adjust its lens memory, to do the zoom, enable, disable. This is all done in the JVC settings, but you can accomplish this, I believe, with plenty of other projector models as well. And there we are back to the 16:9 base presentation, base image. One other thing to point out, because of this setting, because of this option, I have taken to basically just leaving the projector setting, lens memory setting in that native kind of scope aspect ratio, and I leave the Kaleidescape in the 235 native one as well. Again, the large majority of films I think that we tend to watch on our Kaleidescape tend to be in wider aspect ratios themselves, so it's nicer to not have to do the zooming, not have to pull up a different lens memory setting. For the odd 16:9 movie or 185:1 movie, I can grab my trusty Halo remote here once movie playback has started and enact another one of those specific lens memory settings. But again, leave your system in the default state that accommodates the majority of your content, so you have to muss and fuss around with it as little as possible. Of course, if you do have a video processor, you have a Lumigen, you have a MadVR, you have the anamorphic lens and all that stuff, you can let those video processors basically take care of all of this stuff for you. You don't have to mess with it. But for those of us that are still kind of slumming it with lens memories only, I think this is a fantastic feature of the Kaleidescape platform. Really allows you to simplify your system and maximize its kind of impact and presentation. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, I suppose, but I don't believe that the Zedos, the Arvolutions, the other types of media players that are out there, the Shields, I know Apple TV does not have this type of feature built in. As far as I know, Kaleidescape is kind of the one and only platform enabling this type of capability. Hopefully Apple pays attention and brings this and some other better home theater dedicated room automation type features to tvOS in a future revision. So sound off in the comments. Do you have a Kaleidescape? What type of screen aspect ratio do you have? How do you manage it? Do you have a processor and it's all taken care of for you? If you don't, do you use these native settings? Do you use these capabilities of the platform? Again, I think it's pretty cool. Otherwise, please do all the regular YouTube stuff, like, subscribe, hit the bell, share the video, and all of that. Leave a comment, let's discuss. And hey, if you'd like to support Techthusiasm, I really try to specialize in Kaleidescape content, and I really try to specialize in this like using your system, maximize your system type of concept videos. The best way to support me, shop with my affiliates. And if you're interested in a Kaleidescape system, I can hook you up with some great sources for that, audio advice, and others as well. Thanks so much for watching. Come on back for more home theater discussion and fun.